Welcome to Puerto Rico English News. Please subscribe. Help us survive.
Monday, August 15th, 7 people were arrested by a group of federal and local agents for their alleged link to a criminal organization that includes dock workers in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Through threats and extortion, dating back to 2005, these groups are responsible for a $1 million illicit enrichment scheme. Federal prosecutor Stephen Muldrow indicated that among those arrested is Carlos Sanchez Ortiz, president of the ILA union, which organizes employees who work on the docks. Also accused is Jorge Batista Maldonado, who was identified as a supervisor of the Ports Authority. The director of that unit, Joel Pizza, announced that he will be fired. The scheme. In short, the defendants conspired to illegally obtain money from small transshipment shipping companies at San Juan Piers 9, 10, and 11, to the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands. If they did not pay the requested fee, those companies were threatened that the International Longshoremen's Association would carry out protests and strikes on behalf of unionized employees. The indictment indicates that this operation began in 2005, with the participation of the then president of ILA, who has since passed away.
Monday, August 15th. Relatives of Eduardo Luis Augusto Romero, who had been missing since August 12, found his body while conducting a search in Canavadas, the Puerto Rico police reported Tuesday. The discovery was reported around 9:30 p.m. at kilometer 7.5 of Highway 185. The authorities seized a black pistol, a green bag, and a Samsung S20 cell phone at the scene. Augusto Romero's body was in an advanced state of decomposition. The man was 38 years old and lived in Canavadas. He had last been seen leaving his home located in the Campo Rico neighborhood. Prosecutor Tanya Salas ordered the body to be transferred to the Institute of Forensic Sciences for autopsy purposes. Agent Alex Almeida, from the Carolina Homicide Division, is investigating the events.
August 13th, 2 men were killed between dawn Saturday morning, in separate events, in Camarillo and San Juan. According to the police, the first of these 2 crimes was reported at 3:35 a.m., on Georgetti Street, in front of an old health center. A call alerted the authorities of a person wounded by a gunshot. Upon arrival, agents located a 2021 white Nissan Versa vehicle, which had a bullet-ridden body inside. The victim has been identified as Omar Rivera Morales, a resident of Camarillo. The body of the deceased had several gunshot wounds. At the scene, they seized a 9mm caliber Glock firearm, loaded with 15 rounds of ammunition, a magazine with 30 bullets, $1,115 in cash, 25 bags of cocaine, and 29 bags of heroin. Meanwhile, the second case was reported around 7:41 a.m. Authorities were alerted to gunshots in the Auto Ray area by the ShotSpotter gunshot detection system. Officers arrived at Duchesne Street and Arturo Pesare Street intersection in the Villa Prad neighborhood and found the body of a man lying on the pavement. The body had multiple bullet wounds. The victim has not been identified. He was described as a man between 25 and 30 years old, 5 feet 5 inches tall, and 180 pounds, fair complexion, long wavy brown hair, beard and mustache, brown eyes, and a non-readable neck tattoo. He was wearing a white shirt, long blue jeans, black, gray and pink Adidas tennis shoes, and short white socks.
Sunday, August 16th. 2 men were shot to death just over an hour apart, in the early hours of Sunday, in separate events, recorded in Guayama and Bayamon, Puerto Rico. The murder in Guayama was recorded at 12:51 a.m., on Highway 713. A call to 911 alerted police to gunshots at the scene. Upon arrival, authorities found the body of a man, identified as Leonardo Rosario Torres, 61, on the balcony of an abandoned house. The deceased had a gunshot wound to the back that caused him to die on the spot. According to the police, controlled substances were found at the scene, and several bullet casings of different calibers were recovered. Later, in Bayamon, events were reported at 1:56 a.m., on Avenida Aranda Heights, intersection with Calle Catalunya, in the Santa Juanita neighborhood. Preliminary information indicates that the victim was talking in front of a business when a fight broke out. The man was later shot to death. Police did not offer details about the apparent dispute. The deceased was identified as Carlos J. Cartagena Salgado, 34 years old.
Friday, August 11th, the police identified Dorcas Gray Marie Rizari Pagan, 38, as the woman whose body was found dead, Friday, by maintenance employees of the Nuevo Mexico Motel, in the Magalles neighborhood of Ponce. 27-year-old Carlos Torres Vargas was charged with murder in the form of femicide, destruction of evidence, and violations of the weapons law. The victim, who was the mother of a 16-year-old teenager, was found in room 10, and her death was classified as murder, in light of the signs of violence that her body and the scene showed. Bond was set at $400,000, and Torres Vargas remains incarcerated at this time.
August 13th, a man was arrested Saturday by agents of the Criminal Intelligence Division of the Ponce area after seizing 250 decks of heroin inside a vehicle located in the Santa Maria de Ponce neighborhood. The preliminary report maintains that the officers arrived at the residence to execute a search warrant for a 2019 black Ram truck and subsequently found the drug packaged and ready to be sold. As part of the search and seizure warrant, the agents arrested Raymond de Jesus Rivera, known as Villa, and who is suspected of committing several murders, although the police bureau did not indicate the specific deaths or victims.
Tuesday, August 16th, agents from the Division of Special Arrests and Extraditions of San Juan captured Alberto Luis Rivera Colon, known as Machito, who is charged with a double murder that occurred in Las Piedras in 2014. Captain Luis Diaz, director of the Auxiliary Superintendents of Special Operations, stated that Rivera Colon was among the 12 most wanted in Puerto Rico. "We have just captured Rivera Colon. As part of an ongoing investigation, there was an arrest warrant for double murder charges that were filed in absentia for events that occurred in Las Piedras in 2014. On January 14, 2014, the investigation by the Police Bureau maintains that Rivera Colon and 3 other individuals summoned Jean Paul Rodriguez Ortiz and Juan Dennis Gonzalez to a deserted park near a church in Los Stones. When Rodriguez Ortiz and Gonzalez arrived, Rivera Colon and his 3 accomplices allegedly opened fire without saying a word. Bail was set at $3 million.
The former agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Mark Rossini, accused of bribery and corruption in the case against former Governor Wanda Vazquez, requested additional time to pay the bail set by the court. He stated in his motion that while we work diligently to retain local counsel and post the $50,000 secured bond, Mr. Rossini respectfully requests 5 days additional time to satisfy the $50,000 cash bond obligation. Rossini was an FBI agent from roughly 1991 to 2008, when he resigned as part of a deal in which he pleaded guilty to criminally accessing a sensitive FBI database for personal purposes. Most of the searches were related to Anthony Pelicano, an infamous private detective for Hollywood stars, who was charged in 2006 with wiretapping some celebrities. Authorities said Rossini had provided consulting services to an Italian-Venezuelan banker who had promised to financially support Vazquez's 2020 campaign for governor, in exchange for her dismissing the Commissioner of Financial Institutions and appointing a new one of the banker's choosing. The banker, identified as Julio Herrera V. Ludini, and the founder of Bank Credito International Bank and Trust, is also charged in the bribery scheme. At that time, the Office of Financial Institutions of Puerto Rico was auditing the bank. The former governor's consultant, identified as John Blakeman, and the bank's president, identified as Francis Diaz, have pleaded guilty to participating in the bribery scheme.
Tuesday, August 16, the trial is underway for Steven Sanchez Martir, accused of murdering Pedro Marrero Diaz, in room 534, of the Hema San Pablo Hospital, in events that occurred on August 2, 2018. The security director of the hospital, and the first agent of the police bureau, who arrived at the scene, testified during the afternoon. Another witness reported that he heard gunshots and saw the person wearing a gray coat with lines down the sleeves, dark pants, and black shoes with white soles, fleeing the scene. In August of 2018, Sanchez Martir allegedly entered the hospital room of Marrero Diaz and shot him to death. The defense asserts that no witnesses can identify the accused as being the gunman, and a cigarette butt found on the hospital grounds with the defendant's DNA is not proof of his guilt. The prosecution continues to pursue this controversial case, although the evidence is mainly circumstantial. In September 2020, authorities arrested Steven Sanchez Martir for violation of the federal firearms law. Federal Judge Daniel Dominguez imposed a 3-year prison sentence, while he was also facing the state case for the murder in the Caguas hospital.
Wednesday, August 17, the Department of Public Security, DSP, began training police officers to use body cameras. The Mayagüez Municipal Police, which already uses them, assures that the implementation of this equipment has been effective. The DSP stated that before the end of the year, state police will carry body cameras to record their interventions.
As a result of the rises in interest rates that have undermined how much a home buyer can borrow, they introduced the Direct Assistance to the Buyer program, revealed the past president of the Mortgage Bankers Association, Peter Torres. The Direct Home Buyer Assistance Program provides up to $60,000 toward the purchase of a home for income-eligible individuals and households. The average rate is $29,000. About 65% of the home mortgages that are being processed are now in the program.
Wednesday, August 17, Governor Pedro Pierluisi, together with the Executive Director of the Authority for Public-Private Partnerships of Puerto Rico, Fermín Fontanes Gómez, announced the selection of the company, San Juan Cruz Port, a subsidiary of Global Ports Holding, for the repair, design, construction, financing, maintenance and operation of the San Juan Bay cruise terminals, with a private capital contribution of over $400 million. Almost 4 years after submitting an unsolicited proposal and a bidding process in which there were no competitors, Global Ports Holding reached an agreement with the Ports Authority to become the operator of the San Juan Bay cruise docks for the next 30 years. The Turkish company has 6 months to raise the capital that would make the transformation of the San Juan docks possible.
In related news, the municipality of Ponce prepares for the arrival of cruise ships in 2023. Mayor Luis Arizari Pabon announced that at least 3 cruise ships will visit the stately city. The Voyager of the Seas, from Royal Caribbean, the Sea Dream 2, from Sea Dream Yacht Club, and the luxurious Everma, from the Ritz-Carlton Yacht Collection.
Do you have an extra $8.6 million laying around? This mansion in Calvache, Rincon, is for sale for $8,625,000. The entrance to the main residence is framed with 2 arched staircases, and surrounded by immaculate gardens. Located in Rincon, Puerto Rico, this municipality is known for its surfing and sunsets. Although in other parts of the island, the real estate market has been cooling down, the luxury real estate market has been consistent, and with stable prices, because the demand is constant, said Blanca H. Lopez, director of the real estate agency, Corcoran, Puerto Rico.
Here's your weather for the week. To follow us on Facebook, follow the link in the description. Or find us on Twitter, @PR English News. Thanks for subscribing. Have an amazing week.